Welcome to Nourished and Ready, the podcast about nourishing your body before, during, and after pregnancy. I'm Maya, and with me, as always, is Sarah. Let's get into it. I want to open today with a question that I wish someone had asked me years ago. How is your digestion?
Not our typical opener.
It isn't, but it might be one of the most revealing health questions there is, because your gut is not simply a food processing system.
Right.
It's a hormone regulator, an immune training center, and a neurotransmitter factory. And for fertility specifically, gut health is deeply, directly relevant in ways that most women have never been told.
And yet it's almost never part of the conversation when women start thinking about trying to conceive. Today, that changes.
So let's start with the connection that I find genuinely mind-expanding. The gut microbiome, the community of trillions of microorganisms living in your digestive tract, has a specific and measurable role in estrogen metabolism. There's a collection of bacteria called the Estrobolome, whose primary function is to regulate circulating estrogen levels.
The Estrobolome, right.
These bacteria produce an enzyme that processes used estrogen that's been metabolized by the liver and marked for excretion. And they determine whether that estrogen gets cleared from the body or gets reactivated and recirculated.
So the composition of your gut microbiome directly influences how much estrogen is circulating in your blood at any given time.
Precisely. When the microbiome is healthy and diverse, used estrogen moves out efficiently. When it's disrupted by antibiotics, a low-fiber diet, high sugar intake, or chronic stress, estrogen clearance is impaired. Estrogen gets reactivated, levels rise. And estrogen
Dominance, too much estrogen relative to progesterone, is directly associated with irregular cycles, heavy and painful periods, PMS, endometriosis, and difficulty conceiving.
Conditions that affect enormous numbers of women. The fix, at least in part, is not in blocking estrogen. It's in restoring the microbiome that's supposed to clear it. That's a fundamentally different approach to hormonal health than most women encounter.
That aligns with what I found, and the research on this is recent but growing fast. Exactly. It's one of the reasons fiber intake is so directly relevant to hormonal balance. Fiber feeds the beneficial bacteria that make up a healthy estrobolome.
The second dimension of the gut fertility connection is absorption. Your gut is where every nutrient we've discussed all season, folate, B12, zinc, magnesium, vitamin D, actually enters your body.
Right. You can eat the most nutritionally complete diet possible, but if your gut lining is compromised, your absorption is compromised. The two are inseparable.
Leaky gut, or intestinal permeability, is a condition where the tight junctions of the gut lining break down. Partially digested proteins and bacterial fragments enter the bloodstream. The immune system mounts a response. Chronic, low-grade inflammation develops.
And chronic inflammation is one of the most significant underlying factors in fertility challenges, including implantation failure and early pregnancy loss. The immune system has to be in a very specific, calibrated state to allow a fertilized egg to implant without being rejected. Systemic inflammation disrupts that calibration.
So managing inflammation, which originates largely in the gut, is directly fertility relevant. The nutrients most critical for maintaining gut lining integrity: zinc, which supports the tight junctions, vitamin A, which maintains the mucous membrane lining, and B5, pantothenic acid, which is needed for the gut to produce adequate digestive enzymes, and stomach acid.
And without adequate stomach acid, which B5 deficiency impairs, protein isn't properly broken down. Incompletely digested proteins enter the bloodstream and trigger immune responses. This is thought to be one of the primary pathways through which food sensitivities develop.
Let's talk about what disrupts the microbiome, because I think some of these are genuinely surprising.
Antibiotics are the most powerful disruptor. A single course can significantly alter microbiome composition for months.
Wow, for months.
That's not an argument against ever taking antibiotics. Sometimes they're essential, but it does mean following any course with a concentrated probiotic protocol for at least 3 weeks. Refined sugar feeds the bacteria and yeasts that compete and displace beneficial species. High sugar intake is one of the primary dietary drivers of dysbiosis, microbiome imbalance. Right, dysbiosis. NSAIDs, ibuprofen, naproxen, damage the mucus layer that protects the gut lining. Regular use genuinely compromises gut integrity over time.
And stress, which we covered last week, alters gut motility, reduces digestive enzyme and stomach acid production, and directly shifts the microbial balance. Every system we discuss connects back to stress. The foods that actively build gut health, fermented foods,
Yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi deliver live beneficial bacteria. Fiber from vegetables, fruits, legumes, and whole grains feeds those bacteria. And dietary diversity, aiming for 20 to 30 different plant foods per week, is one of the strongest predictors of microbiome diversity.
That last point is supported by really compelling population research. Gut microbiome diversity, having a wide variety of different species, is consistently associated with better metabolic and hormonal health outcomes. Totally. And plant food diversity is the single most accessible lever most people have to improve it.
What about probiotic supplements? Because I know that's the first thing many people reach for.
The research on supplements is more nuanced than the marketing suggests. Food-based probiotics are consistently and strongly supported. Specific strains have more limited evidence for most healthy people, the exception being after antibiotic use or for women with known gut issues or recurrent infections.
The priority for most women: build the environment for a healthy microbiome through fiber, diverse plants, and fermented foods. The bacteria respond to the conditions you create.
Next week, and I'm particularly excited about this one, we're talking about partner nutrition. Does what your partner eats actually affect conception rates and pregnancy outcomes? The research says yes, and the mechanism is fascinating.
It's one of the conversations that genuinely surprised me when I first went into the data. Don't miss it. See you next week. If today's episode was useful to you, the best thing you can do is share it with one person who needs to hear it. A friend who's trying to conceive, a woman who's newly pregnant, someone in your life who's been asking questions about nutrition and doesn't know where to start. One share makes a real difference. And if you want to go deeper between episodes, come find us on Facebook. Search Cellular Healing, The Real Transformation. It's our community for everything we talk about here. Real food, real nutrition, and building genuine health from the inside out. We'd love to see you there. Thank you for listening to Nourished and Ready. See you next week.